Alright, so sorry this wasn't on the video, but we customized the heck out of this button upon request, and it's looking pretty awesome. Either way, all of this will be given to you guys as a link, so you can play around with it. So we have this button awesome, and just for the video, the button success is green, info is like a bluish, warning is yellow, danger is red. And so what if we wanted to create our own? Well, we gave our new awesome button get awesome. So we gave our new button the class of btn, which provides the padding and some things for it. For instance, let's get rid of that and see what happens. So what even is that? So the class of btn really just makes it a button. And then the btn warning and danger, that's really just the color and the styling of it. So we declare this button awesome class here. Give it a background of deep sky blue, a color of light yellow, and a border color doyer blue. We also added the class of text uppercase. Where did we get that from? Well, CSS in Bootstrap gives us a whole bunch of classes, just like the image responsive, right? To make all the images fit inside the columns nicely, you had to have given the images a class of image responsive. You could also give images a class of image rounded, image circle. So you could put that anywhere. Wherever you have an image, just tack on image thumbnail and it will give you this like nice little rounded border. Pretty cool. They give you a lot of these helper classes. Forms. Forms are awesome in Bootstrap. They help you do inline forms. And kind of that what we wanted to do before. Remember to align these things in the right order, and that's by using the grid, right? So here the column small is for the email, and column small 2 email, column small 2 password, and here we have email and password, and then these two have a class of column small 10. So that helps to organize everything. So if you think about websites in a grid, then that's very good because it'll make it very simple to align things. Checkboxes. Let's go back to our Get Awesome button. So it's not doing it for me. I'm not a fan quite yet. I'm not sold on it, but I'll invest in it if it kind of does something fun, like if it just grows up ever so slightly. So why don't we do that in CSS? Let's give our awesome button a transition or transform? Transition of, we'll just do the width in 2 seconds. 1 second. We'll make it like a quick little, and then we'll target btn awesome. Bring that up. And we're going to change the width to, what if we do 10%? Let's see what we get. Refresh. Yeah, didn't think so. What is the default width? That's what I want to know. How do you get to width? So here is our button, and hey, it's 100, say 130. Oh, with padding. And a 1 pixel border. Do we have to do math to figure it out? Is it? So 130 plus 24, that's 154, 156. So 156, we'll make it 200. So we'll change the width to 200. Oh, duh. Well, hover. Then let's try the other thing again. Oops. With 110%. Because I forgot to add the hover pseudo class. Fresh. Yeah. That's what I thought. Right, 200 pixels. Why is it not happening nicely? Transition. What am I missing? I'm missing something. Why do you not happen nicely? Alright, well, let's check it out. So if you inspect something, then you can click on this HOV button to toggle the element state. So if you want it to show when you hover over it, then you can just click on it, and there you go. It's triggered. Why is it not being nice? Oh, maybe because it has to be on the button itself? No. So it's triggering on hover, but the transition doesn't seem to work. Is it transition? Gets me. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I don't want to get bogged down on that. There are more important things to get to. Like, how do we save this in our own project? Let's do it. Woo. So, what website are we going to make right now? So I'm just yell something out. Make a coffee shop. All right. What's our coffee shop called? Beans. Come to Beans. Okay, cool. So, like I said, whoever yells something out first wins. So I'm going to make an index.html file, which again is going to be my default file. And make my boilerplate. Boom! Done. What? So quick. Beans. Anyone watch Even Stevens? Remember Beans? Yeah, what? Yeah. I'm not talking about yesterday. Yeah, Beans. Oh, we gotta add him. Beans. Even Stevens. He's our mascot. We all just decided. Oh. Okay, that seems to be a popular picture. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to get set up. What are the three things we need for Bootstrap? We need Bootstrap CSS, we need Bootstrap JavaScript, and we need Bootstrap, just kidding, we need Jquery.
So what do you different Jquery and JavaScript?
Bootstrap. Jquery is its own library. So Jquery is a library for JavaScript. We'll get into it later. So just think that what Bootstrap CSS is to CSS, that's what Jquery is to JavaScript. It's just a whole bunch of pre-written code that someone wrote. For instance, Jquery. I don't know if I want to download it. Jquery CM just yet. So here, let's go to the uncompressed. So I'm going to take this URL And there it is, jQuery. It's just JavaScript. You don't know what this means, but it's just JavaScript. That's all it is. Like a whole bunch of pre-written JavaScript for you. And then jQuery says, hey, you can use this, and this, and this. The same way that Bootstrap says, hey, you could use this class, like BTN info, image responsive, container. I can handle it. jQuery does the exact same thing. All right, awesome. So this is going to be very important, how you add Bootstrap to your site. So you'd want to go to Bootstrap, not bootstrap.com, but like Google Bootstrap, and then it's getbootstrap.com. Hey, download Bootstrap. Okay. Why so many options? Okay, just go with Bootstrap. Like, why get confused with this stuff? If it says download Bootstrap, that's what you want to do. Like, why? That's at least my thinking of it. Like, chances are, if you think things out logically, then you'll go in the right direction. So, you downloaded Bootstrap. Let's open it. Let's see what it really looks like. Bootstrap. Cool. So inside of the Bootstrap folder, we have CSS, fonts, JavaScript. Okay, let's check out CSS. What? What on earth? Why so many files, right? Don't be alarmed. Remember, think things through logically. Everything has to make sense. So let's go through these in order. So Bootstrap Theme.css. Okay, that's the theme, right? Remember I showed you how it gives you like the little gradient and like little color things. So here's Bootstrap Theme CSS.map. Don't want that. Don't want that either. That has theme. Who cares about that? Hey, look, another theme. As a matter of fact, you can just delete those. Gone. You're not going to use them. Who cares, right? So next we have Bootstrap.css. That makes sense. And then we have bootstrap.css.map. So the map, is when you're using a pre-compiler that will map a different file to CSS. Like CSS is a very annoying language to write in because you have all these like curly braces and semicolons thrown across everywhere. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to show you. If you have time, just check this out. So, in reality, CSS is kind of, well, CSS 3 is on its way, like, out, and CSS, like, they're not working on CSS 4, they're not saying, like, oh, yeah, CSS 4 is coming, like, they lie about Bootstrap 4 coming out. But, let's say we have a div. Hello there. That's it. Let me add a couple of ugly break tags to bring it down. So CSS, to target that, I would go div, colon, or curly brace, font size, 30 pixels, right? Very ugly. Now, people in this day and age hate ugliness and like extra stuff. So what if I said you could write it the exact same way, but like this, font size 30 pixels? What? Doesn't that look so much nicer? And you can target like a paragraph, and then give it a background of dark cyan, right? Or just cyan for short, and no semicolon. What? Right now it's giving me errors, but check it out. Let's use Sass. Hey, come back. What? No, you're not. Hey, there you go. So I guess it was just leftover code that it didn't like. But there you go. So Sass is written like that. So it's really cool because let's say you have a paragraph inside of that. So you have this paragraph inside of this div, and then this paragraph outside of it. But you target a paragraph, and you change the color to red, teal. There we go. But you only want to target this one. What do you do? Well, you can take this, somehow do that. Aha, check that out. So now it's just targeting the p tag inside of the div. So now your CSS looks more like HTML, right? Here's div, here's the div, and then indented, one indentation tab, one tab, indented one tab, and then teal. What? So this is the new CSS. But this doesn't work in a browser yet. Sass has to be compiled from Sass to CSS, and that's what the map file does. The map just says, hey, I am, like this CSS file is mapped to this Sass file. Exactly. Yeah. So, it's just a little bit more annoying. Yeah. So before you put anything on the web, you have to compile it, and then the Sass turns into CSS. Yeah. It's kind of annoying, but it's way more fun. Yeah, Java's a compiled language. Yeah, Java you have to compile every time. It's terrible. That's why making mobile apps in React Native is so much better, because it's like you change one thing, boom, like it's re-rendered automatically. If you're doing it for Android, you have to compile it and then check the error, and like your phone has to reboot for the smallest changes. It's the most annoying thing in the world. But because we're working with JavaScript, which is an interpreted language, you don't have to know, this is more like a side quest. It's an interpreted language, meaning that it just kind of goes with the flow. That like you change something, it's like, oh, this little bit of code changed, so let's just update that little thing that was updated. Whereas Java, you have to go through the entire code all the time to check, are you missing a semicolon? Whereas JavaScript is like, semicolons optional. So that's that fun little side quest. And so that's all the map file is. So really, you don't need that. This one's map 2. All right, we're down to our last two contenders. So Bootstrap Min Css and Bootstrap.css. Any guesses on which one we want? Explain why. Why do we want what? Let's think about it. First of all, what's the difference? Not minimum, but minimized. Check this out. So let's. Jeez, I'm going every tab. All right, let's check out. Copy that. First up is bootstrap.min.css. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, a whole bunch of gobbledygook. Looks good. The reason why I'm not running it in Atom is because it'll make my computer crash. So if I remove the min, we get this. So a much longer CSS file. So which one do we want and why? Any guesses?
The min is faster.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone agree with that? Which one? Yes. The computer doesn't care about white space at all, remember? We care about white space. Like, this looks beautiful for a web developer. I could, like, change this all you want, but changing this, no, I'd rather not. So exactly, the computer loves this. It's like, oh, I'm like, oh, changing everything. That's fine. That's great. That's what it wants. It doesn't want to work harder than it has to. No one does. So that's why we want the minified version. It just means that there's like no real extra empty space. So great job to you guys. 10 points for everyone. I think everyone's at 10 and you're at 12. I keep track. So let's, what am I doing? Wrong shortcut. That shortcut. So I'm going to go to my desktop, my GitHub folder, beans, and inside there, what I like to do is make a library folder, a folder for all my libraries like Bootstrap for Jquery, React, and so on. So make a new folder, call this lib for library. It's convention. New folder, I'm going to call this one Bootstrap. I'm just setting myself up for success. I'm going to make another folder for Jquery. Awesome. So in my Bootstrap folder, how many subfolders do I want? 2, one for CSS, one for Bootstrap. So CSS, new folder, JS. Awesome. So in my CSS folder, we're going really deep, but we'll go over it slower. So I could just really drag and drop bootstrap.min.css, and that's it. That's why you make a template. So when I'm done with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, paste this, and rename it template. So every time I start a new project, I always have like everything already downloaded and I'm ready to go. It's kind of like Bootstrap for files. I mean, yeah, this gets you going. But yeah, great questions. So now we need Bootstrap JavaScript. So, hey, much fewer options. Do we want Bootstrap, Bootstrap Min, or NPM? That's right. We want the minified version. I'm going to put that in my Bootstrap and into my JS file. You don't have to do it this way. I personally like it this way. For example, if you wanted to, let me go back to desktop, GitHub, beans, I don't know, this one, yeah, and then lib, and then Bootstrap. Ooh. So I have like these things, but really you could keep them all inside of the Bootstrap folder, or if you want to get really sloppy, just put like everything in your lib folder, or if you want to get really, really sloppy, just put everything in like one CSS folder. But organization is very important. So if I am working with a whole bunch of tools like Jquery, Bootstrap, React, like a whole bunch of things, I want to be as organized as possible. I don't want like one folder with every file, right? And it kind of reads a little bit more like English, like, okay, library, Bootstrap, Bootstrap CSS. Makes sense. You can't mess that up. Awesome. So now all that's left to do is get Jquery. So let's go to Jquery. Jquery.com. Hey, download Jquery. Can't miss it. Giant glowing orange button. Hey, wonder how they did that. Waiting for Jquery. Okay, while Jquery thinks about download, ooh, we have options. Download the compressed production, uncompressed, the map file. Now we kind of know what these are, right? The map just maps the like the pre-compiled version to the compiled one, and then every time wrong button. So here, do we want the compressed or the uncompressed? Compressed, right? That's similar to the minified. So I'm going to pull that open. Here it is, and I'm going to put it inside of my Jquery folder. And there's no point in making a Jquery CSS and Jquery JS folder inside of that because Jquery is just JavaScript. Awesome! We are set to go. So now everything is all set up. Now here's the order that you want things in. First, you, and I always do this, I always write a comment of my imports and where they should go before I import them. Because if I just import everything and then comment it, I'm like, what's what? So, the order is Bootstrap CSS, Custom CSS, Jquery, Bootstrap JS. So that goes there, and there. Awesome. So, Bootstrap CSS. Who remembers what the CSS tag is? Link. Yep. And then add the href. So from my index.html, I go inside of lib, bootstrap, CSS, and then bootstrap.min.css. So lib, bootstrap, CSS, bootstrap.min.css. Awesome. I'm going to copy that. So my custom CSS, where is it going to go? Well, I'm going to make a new folder, call it CSS/styles.css. Hey, if you do it that way, it'll what am I doing? Delete. Alright, so if you want to create a new file inside of a folder, a cool way is you right click, new file, as always, and then my CSS file doesn't exist, or a CSS folder, I could do CSS/styles.css. What? Creates it for me. So my custom CSS is link CSS/styles.css. Awesome. 2 down, 2 to go. Now my jQuery is a script tag. Oops, script with a source attribute, and the source is oh wow, shouldn't have even done that. jQuery slash, what is it called? jQuery -3.1.1.min.js. Can you rename that? Absolutely. I kind of like to keep the version number somewhere, like really in the Bootstrap, it should have the version number so that you know, because Bootstrap, the latest version of Bootstrap doesn't, used to not work with the latest version of jQuery. Like jQuery 3 came out 2 months ago, and so Bootstrap would throw an error saying Bootstrap only works with jQuery version 2. So sometimes it's important. And then the Bootstrap JavaScript is script with a source of .js. There we go. All right, I'm going to save it. And just to set myself up, .container. Aha. Hello there. So let's see what we look like. Finder. And there we go. How do I know Bootstrap CSS is imported? Because there's this padding here and the font is different. Awesome. Do we get any errors? Let's find out. Nope. So we're good. We're styling. All right. So now what I'm going to do is set myself up for success. And I'll do 2 spaces, I'll leave the title as document, and duplicate that and call it template. Awesome. So now, anytime I start a new file, I just copy this template and move on from there. So let's start working on these. So in the next 50, gosh. So what should we add? Should we add a navbar or should we make our own custom navbar? Votes for the default navbar? Default? Sounds good. Loudest person wins. So let's go to components. Ooh, I'm gonna do it. All right, copy that. And this one doesn't need a container because it already has one. Let's auto indent with Command-Shift-I, and check it out. Hey, we got a navbar. We got the drop down. Everything's working. Okay, so I hate it. It looks terrible. I don't want it this light color or black, like the inverted thing. Are there other themes? Yes, there are. There's something called Bootswatch, which has really cool free themes for Bootstrap. How does it work? It's the simplest thing in the world. All right, someone yell out a theme, and that's what we're gonna go with. Or first, look at all of them. So we have Yeti, and the colors are different too. So primary is that, success is that. The buttons are more squarish. So United, we have Slate, Simplex, kind of cool. Readable, optimized for legibility. Crisp like a new sheet of paper. Oh, that's where it was hiding. Cool blue. Yeah. See this one, instead of the blue info button, they made it purple, they made it purple, and so on. Any ideas? Alright, I'm gonna go with readable. So, click download. We have it. This is the readable Bootstrap Min.css file. How do you get it? Well, can you like right click and download? I don't know. Well, you could highlight it, copy it, save that massive file to your clipboard, and then in my CSS, just kidding, in my lib, in my Bootstrap, in my CSS, new file, bootstrap-cerulean.min.css. Good catch. I had cerulean in my head. So let me rename that and readable. There we go. And so that's it. Just this whole mess. Let me close that out and all right, and check it out just like that. There you go. That's what I was waiting for. So nothing will happen unless you tell it to. So we downloaded it, but we never said, hey, check this out. So in Bootstrap CSS, it's bootstrap-readable. And I'm going to call this Bootswatch, just so I know. Like it's a visual cue. You don't have to do that. You can call it Bootstrap. So refresh. Oh. And there you go. So we got a cool, oh, that's very crisp. I like that a lot. Yeah, so there you go. Now, yeah, a link to that is at the bottom. somewhere. Themes? Did I not add a link to that? Oh, I'm terrible. All right, well, it's Bootswatch. And that's all you have to do. You copy paste the entire CSS file and you have it. So, what do we do in 10 minutes? What do you guys want to do? Add a Jumbotron, add, Jumbotron? Let's do a Jumbotron. Awesome. Copy. Copy that. It's the only thing I could think of when I say that. All right. Boom. Jumbotron. Do we want it full width? All right. Got container. Is it fluid to make it full? Or just a container? Oops. Boom. Auto indent. Awesome. And let's see what we're working with. Oops. There we go. Hey, we have a full width Jumbotron. So let me change the background color real quick in my CSS. What do we want to do? Header, heading, banner. Banner sounds good to me. Like Grease banner. We'll make the background color. Anyone ready? Rose. Haha. Is rose even a color? Is it like rosebud? Rose. Misty Rose. It just gets 10 times better with colors, like if you know the color names. Alright. First of all, I hate that spacing in between there. To me, that's terrible. It doesn't flow right. So let's inspect the page and fix it. So the body. So what is causing that? Right here, I see the navbar is causing that. Notice when I hover, when my cursor is on the navbar, then you see this orange belt. And then if my cursor is on the Jumbotron, you don't see anything there. So that means that the navbar has a margin, I believe. Yep, there we go. The navbar has a margin on the bottom of 22 pixels. So let's check out exactly where it's coming from. So, yep. So if we got rid of that, yep, so that's it. It was just on something with the class of navbar. So we can give that, maybe overwrite it, maybe not. Ooh, what does the inverse look like? We'll give that a navbar custom and hope that no one else gave their navbar that same thing. What did we say? Margin bottom 0. 0 feet. Hey, there we go. So that's looking better. Yeah.
What about if I link my customer
Before? Let's check it out. So what happens if you get a little sloppy and like don't really pay attention to how you're linking things? So right now our website looks great and amazing. Let's see if we move our custom CSS sheet before Bootstrap or Bootswatch in this case. Refresh. So what happened now is that we have that gutter back. Did you guys even see the gutter?
you change the background color.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so now you can. So what happened is the Bootswatch overwrote the background. Yeah. So let me change that to a slightly darker color. Dim gray. Slate gray. Slate gray. So refresh it. So there, everything's working fine. And let's see what happens if we move our custom CSS before the Bootswatch. So it got overwritten. You have to pay attention of where things are being imported. Exactly like the Jquery as well. Otherwise, if you import Jquery after, then none of this stuff would work. Awesome. Any other questions? Great questions. All right. What else should we do? Let's add a form. A quick little form. Basic example. Hey, let's take the whole thing. Copied. And why don't we make a new page? Just because. So, new file. Pages / contact.html. So, actually, I'll take my index.html. It's gonna be a pain. So you have to relink all of those files. For instance, here is our It depends. Well, you're never really gonna have one CSS file if you're making a production app. Like you want multiple things, but you are gonna have some CSS files that overlap for multiple HTML pages. Like for a certain theme that you want, like the color scheme and everything, will be across multiple pages. But the CSS files are mainly like Navbar.css, where it's all your Navbar, like your custom Navbar settings and colors and stuff, and then like sidebar.css, which has all of those things. So that's usually what it is. So now that we're in our contact.html, we have to go out of that and then into lib. So for all of these, I have to do .. / .. All right, and let's grab our form, copy. Boom. Is it in a container? I think so. So .container. There we go. Auto indent. Looking good. So where are we going to go to click on that? Where? Maybe the link, like this one, or this one right here, or this one. I'm going to do this one. I'll let you drop that. The separated link. I'm settled. So, separated link. That's for that. Which one? Yeah, I always just do a div with a class of btn and then btn like whatever. Yeah, because the theme is going to change them too. So right now I have the paper theme, so it's going to make it not like the goal of Bootstrap is to use Bootstrap but make it not look like you use Bootstrap. You know what I mean? Like if everyone used the default Bootstrap stuff, then we'd all look the same, and then it wouldn't be that fun. So I want to kind of make it not look bootstrappy. So all of these I would change entirely. Well, first of all, I wouldn't have like a search thing up here. I'd have it somewhere else, but yeah, that's just me. So here we go. So this link will go to the contact us. And I'm going to make that go to pages / contact.html. And you could also do // It makes no difference. The // just means from the current directory, go to pages, and then contact.html. That's it. If we wanted this to be capitalized, we can do something like give this li a class of text uppercase. Right? Remember that. So click it, contact, all uppercase. Does it work? What? We got a form just like that. What? Input file. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Why did I do that? Well, those are the basics of Bootstrap. I want you guys to enjoy your Friday nights. If you guys have any questions, I'll be around throughout the weekends, so you can message me on Slack and I'll help out. Of course, all of this will be uploaded to the GitHub, so you have access to everything I just created. And look at tutorials, have fun with Bootstrap, look stuff up. Bootstrap is here to stay, even though Bootstrap 4 is coming out, but everything will still carry over. So thank you guys for coming out. I'll see you guys on Monday.